Hey guys, good evening. Welcome back to the channel United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Hope you're all having a fantastic Wednesday evening. Hope you've all had a good day. Hope you've had a good week so far. And I hope you're all looking forward to another brand new weekend in April 2024 this year. First of all, do me a massive favour for me. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button, and to always remember to put the notification bell on all times received dedicated brand new content planned for the rest of 2024 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube for brand new Fortnite, Rocket League, EAFC 24, F1, Call of Duty, previews, match reactions, dedicated summer transfer news right throughout the summer transfer window this year in 2024, and much more brand new stuff planned for 2024 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. So please subscribe if you're new. Good evening to everybody. Hope you've all had a good day. And as it states in the title of this video, could Bournemouth really do the double over Manchester United this season? After what they did in the return fixture where Bournemouth beat Manchester United 3-0 at Old Trafford for their first ever win in AFC Bournemouth's football club history. Never ever have Bournemouth gone to Old Trafford and got any points or even a win. But the big question is, could Bournemouth really do the double over Man United this season for the first time, not just in football history, but in Premier League history as well? I think it's a big talking point, especially the way we were completely dismantled by Bournemouth in the reverse fixture at Old Trafford, where Bournemouth walked away with Old Trafford with a 3-0 win, which should have been 4 if their fourth goal wouldn't have been ruled offside by a controversial VAR decision. And I am good, thank you for asking. I'm very good. Just got a slight headache this evening, but I'm okay. Hope everybody's good. But yeah, it's a big talking point. And again, a lot of people tipped Bournemouth to go down this season. A lot of people said that Bournemouth are going to really struggle to stay up in the Premier League. Bournemouth are going to, be one of the contenders to go down to the Championship. I think what Bournemouth have done this season has been completely, utterly remarkable. I think when you lose a manager like Gary O'Neill, like Bournemouth lost to at the end of last season, but even before the beginning of the Premier League season of last year's calendar year, Bournemouth were tipped to go down. Bournemouth were tipped to get relegated. Bournemouth were one of the favourites to be relegated from this division back into the Championship after only one season back in the Premier League. But the job that Gary O'Neill did at Bournemouth, it can't be taken away. He kept that team up with a lack of quality, a lack of attacking threat, and a lot of players that obviously Bournemouth did lose when they came up to the Premier League, but also a lot of players who were sent out on loan, as well as, a lot of players did go when Gary O'Neill left for Wolverhampton Wanderers. But you've got to give credit for what Bournemouth have done. They've been absolutely remarkable with the budget they are on, with the manager they've got in Andoni Iraola. You've got to absolutely applaud what Bournemouth have done this season. Obviously, the only blip they've really had is they were sent back down for bump last weekend, where remarkably they went 1-0 up away to Luton Town at Kenilworth Road and somehow lost 2-1, where Bournemouth were completely dominating both halves of the game. But a remarkable Luton Town comeback succumbed Bournemouth to a 2-1 away defeat. So I think Bournemouth, for me, their form really is stronger at home than on the road on their away games. And I think it's not going to be an easy fixture for Manchester United. And again, it's another must-win. We cannot afford to lose to Bournemouth again. I really do not want United losing to Bournemouth again, because if they do the double over us, it is going to be a massive L to take. It'll be the first time in Premier League history that Bournemouth have ever completed a double over the Manchester United Football Club. I just think this is going to be quite a tricky away game that I think Man United could really struggle from. Oh yeah, they were. I got a £30 bet on them staying up, but I got 120 for that bet. Love it. Luton, if I wasn't a Villa fan, support them, not going to lie. United can beat Bournemouth. I saw a lot of good signs against Liverpool, but it's the mistakes that are costing us. Yeah, I completely agree. And that is exactly what happened in the reverse fixture at Old Trafford. We absolutely were dismantled. Like, I could not believe some of the teams we've lost to at home this season. Teams like Fulham, Bournemouth, we only just scraped past Luton Town. Man United are lucky to even be in the top six because at this moment in time, if United fail to win on Saturday evening and don't get any points away from home, United could succumb themselves to at least down to eighth place in the current Premier League standards, which would mean no European football whatsoever for Manchester United at all next season, which would be a sign of that they are going to clearly sack Eric Ten Hag. And again, it's 3 games without a win. United have not won their last 3 games since we beat Liverpool in the FA Cup quarter-finals at Old Trafford, where we won through a late Amad Diallo goal. But I think if Eric Ten Hag was to pick up nothing from this weekend's game, I think time will tell that Bournemouth could send Eric Ten Hag packing. They really could send Eric Ten Hag packing by the end of the weekend. And I think if Man United succumb to the double from Bournemouth, then I think a decision is probably behind the scenes already made up that Ineos, Sir Jim Ratcliffe are not convinced by Eric Ten Hag. You've got their rumours from yesterday that they're not happy with Eric Ten Hag and the way Manchester United are for the whole of this season. And I'm not surprised, but I think maybe Eric Ten Hag should be given one more chance to prove himself as manager and give him a 3rd season. But I can't see Man United being patient. Man United are a club that will act if it starts going wrong. They did it to Moyes, they did it to Van Gaal, they did it to Mourinho, they did it to Solskjaer, they did it to Rangnick. I don't think Manchester United are going to be afraid to make a decision on Eric Ten Hag by the end of this weekend's game. We can't afford to lose to Bournemouth, but they have got a lot of attacking quality that has completely transformed that Bournemouth team. I mean, their recruitment and the way their football club is run on and off the pitch. Man United could learn a thing or two about how to run a football club properly when you've got teams like Bournemouth, Brighton, Brentford, Luton, who don't exactly have the best budgets available to their disposal when they go into a Premier League season. They don't exactly have the biggest amount of money to spend like any other the top clubs currently in the Premier League. And you look at the way they operate and you look at their recruitment teams that operate behind the scenes at their football clubs, and the talent and the players that they bring in is absolutely phenomenal. Like Man United's recruitment could learn a lot from what these clubs are doing. But Man United don't want to listen. Man United are like, we know better than everyone else. We know what players to bring in. We know what players to get. We know what players to get rid of. We know what players to sell. We know what players we need to keep. And that's what really infuriates me about Manchester United. If you look at that Bournemouth team and you look at the set of players that they've got under their manager, Bournemouth were still favourites to go down. Even though this manager came in, Bournemouth's season did not start off well. Bournemouth really, really struggled to adapt to the style of play their new manager was trying to bring in, and their results, Bournemouth were in the bottom half. And you look where they are now. If Bournemouth win at the weekend, they're potentially finishing above Chelsea. Like something that doesn't really happen a lot. And I know Chelsea have been bad under Pochettino and their recruitment of Ted Bowley with all the money they've spent in the last 2 transfer windows. But that Bournemouth team finishing above Chelsea and maybe above Newcastle and West Ham, that shows Bournemouth are going in a completely different direction than what any other of those Premier League clubs are doing. Bournemouth could even achieve European football. If Bournemouth were to finish the season on a high, which they're going to, they could achieve European football again for the first time ever in their club's history. Bournemouth could be in Europe next season. And Man United do make a hell of a lot of mistakes. There were some signs of positivity against Liverpool, but most of that positivity was smacked right out of us when Aaron Wan-Bissaka decided to throw away all those 3 points that, Kobe Mainoo worked really, really hard to get. And now all of a sudden, United again find themselves on the back foot because of stupid errors and the same old mistakes that continue to creep into these Manchester United performances. And this, for me, is what is costing Ten Hag. These players clearly can't be trusted to play a whole 90 minutes. And it shows that there's a lack of recruitment at Man United. There's a lack of leadership in the team. And there's a lack of quality being shown by Manchester United on and off the pitch. And Red Reaper 176 is put in the chat. If you look at Luton, their budget is small, but they play it smart. They wouldn't splash the cash on any informed player. They would develop their own players, and it's harder for big clubs to do that. Exactly. Completely agree. If you compare Man United to Luton, I would rather be a Luton fan knowing the club is being run properly on and off the pitch, which it is. And Man United are being shown up by these smaller teams because United can't do their job properly. And I think failure to win this weekend, it's going to tell you these players are not in it for the long term. These players are a joke. These players aren't exactly great, and they're not. And you've also got it is small, and line 4080 said it's small. It is small. It's small mistakes. I think Man United are making massive mistakes. I think Man United are making massive mistakes, not just small. It's massive mistakes, and we do need a new centre back as well. But it's going to take more than just one to bring that defence to where it should be for next season. And a lot of these players, again, on Saturday, are fighting for their futures to stay at Manchester United for any more time. But I think time is up for half of this team. If they don't show up Saturday, then I'm really sorry to say, all these players need to go and build a team around 3 or 4 of them to get Man United where realistically this club needs to be. And that's back in the top 4, not settling for 3rd or 4th, not settling for 2nd, but trying to get back to being Premier League champions again. And what the messages we're getting back from the club is, can you be patient? Can you be patient? Can you be patient? No, I'm afraid no. I'm afraid not, I'm afraid. Because at the end of the day, we're not a Take That song. We are Manchester United Football Club, and you're coming out with your briefs telling us you've got to wait 3 to 4 more years to see realistic change. Do you honestly think Manchester United fans and supporters are going to wait 3 to more fucking years to get any reoccurrence of this same old crap again? Because you can sack the manager, you can sell players, you can bring in players, you can change the structure, you can change the coaches. The problem is, it's the mentality of this squad. They've really let us down. And if you think about it logically, we should have had 9 points out of 9 from our last 3 Premier League games. Because I say that to you, because Man United have led in every one of those games when they've come from behind. Against Brentford, we went 1-0 up, threw it away 2 minutes later. We were 3-2 up going into the 98th minute against Chelsea and lost 4-3. We were 2-1 up against Liverpool and Aaron Wan-Bissaka threw it away. So Man United are leading games, but it's the mentality and the state of mind that these players cannot focus. And if they don't focus on Saturday, the beating they got at Old Trafford, where Bournemouth ripped us apart, clearly again, that is going to happen on Saturday evening at the Vitality. That will happen again if these United players do not fucking concentrate. And you need a new captain, new winger, 3 new defenders, and for us, your goal, can we just call him the guy who plays in goal? Yeah, we are conceding a shitload of goals. That is not just down to the goalkeeper. It's down to that back 4. It's down to that midfield. And it's down to the lack of service. Our striker in Rasmus Højlund is clearly not being fed opportunities by 2 selfish wingers in Garnacho again, who was played out of position against Liverpool, should have been put on the left wing. And Marcus Rashford, that again did completely fuck all to say, I should still be a Man United player next season because I played shit for the whole 90 minutes. I didn't even play 90 minutes. I went off injured because I'm a bang average left winger that is completely burnt out, injury prone, and clearly isn't dedicated and doesn't show the commitment that he keeps coming out stating on all his little social media accounts. And I'm absolutely sick of them. If Ten Hag has got any credentials about him at all, change this fucking team up Saturday and put in some shocks, because I am sick of them. I am done with these players. I'm done with this squad. And I am done with the mentality that these players do not give a fuck. And this is why, if you'd have won your last 3 games in a row, Man United would have been above Aston Villa. We would have been closing the gap to Tottenham. But because the points gap is too massively wide open, Man United aren't catching Aston Villa. We ain't catching Tottenham. Even though we have got games in hand, Man United will come up again and then use that as an excuse. We've got games in hand. Don't worry, we will make up the gap. The gap is too big already for you to catch it. And apparently now the rules have changed. If either an English club win the Europa League and then the Champions League, if Man United finish sixth, they will get back in the Champions League. Well, that ain't going to happen if Man United don't finish sixth. And you need your two CDMs. I love them. I'll have them tomorrow. But the CDMs aren't doing their job. This is my problem. People really rate Casemiro. People really rate McTominay. They ain't fucking good enough now. You look at how leggy and how laggy Casemiro was on Sunday. Look at that midfield battle being lost to how shit we actually were. Exactly. Go to therapy. You meant it. And Luton Town have a huge advantage when attacking as set pieces from benefiting them hugely, scoring 10 goals from free kicks. Should we be questioning United set piece coaches? Absolutely. The set pieces are a joke. Whenever we get a free kick, whenever we get a corner, there is clearly I don't recognise the plan then. When we get into a really strong position to put a ball into the box or try and go from a corner or try and make something happen from a free kick, we always seem to hit the first man in the defensive wall of the opposition, and then that Bournemouth team are then going to be on the attack. And again, back to Bournemouth's recruitment. If you look at their players now compared to the players they had last season, you look at the quality, you look at their recruitment, you look at these players they've got now. Dominic Solanke, I mean, what a fucking player he's been for Liverpool. Look at what a player he's been for Liverpool. You've really got to start looking at someone like Dominic Solanke, who always guarantees you goals when he plays for Bournemouth up front. Look how many goals he has scored this season for Bournemouth under a complete different style of play, under a complete DNA recognition from the new manager. And you look at the style of football, I actually recognise what Bournemouth are trying to do. I recognise the style of play. I recognise their DNA. I recognise the whole structure that that club has got on and off the pitch, and it puts Man United in the mud. It puts Man United in the mud. And it's not just Dominic Solanke. You've got players like Tyler Adams, great signing on loan from Leeds, hasn't really got much Bournemouth game time because he's had a few injuries. But it's not just that. You look at, what a signing NSU now has been from La Liga, from Getafe. Hasn't really started many games for Bournemouth, but he can score you goals. Justin Kluivert, I mean, quite a very good signing from Bournemouth where, Jose Mourinho was looking at him when he was the Man United manager and we beat Ajax in that Europa League final in Mourinho's first season in charge. And you look at, Mourinho really wanted Justin Kluivert. That might have been an excellent left-wing signing for Man United if we had a problem recruitment team because he is scoring goals for fun at the moment. And at the moment, he's probably Bournemouth's biggest threat on that left wing, especially when you've got Diego Dalot at right back, Harry Maguire, Kabwala, and then Aaron Wan-Bissaka. That back four does not fill me with any confidence. And because we are shocking at set pieces and think it would do us good if we could take a corner. Exactly, we can't take corners. We always hit the first man. And look at Villa for set pieces. Look at Watkins. You could afford him. He would go to you. I'd miss him, but he's the kind of striker you need. Yeah, we need hungry, young, versatile strikers that can guarantee you goals. And that is what Man United are missing. So yeah, back to the Bournemouth players. Marcus Tavernier, scored an absolute beautiful goal away to Luton last weekend, but didn't come out on the winning side. Great goal and a great versatile player that Bournemouth have massively got on side and made, quite a good signing because he was at Middlesbrough under Michael Carrick, and Bournemouth managed to bring him and recruit him in and sign him to make him a Premier League player. And I think for me, he's been very, very good. Another good signing for Bournemouth has been Luis Sinisterra, who got relegated with Leeds United last season, wanted to leave the club because obviously Leeds had to let players go to obviously balance their finances in the Sky Bet Championship. But again, Sinisterra is world bloody class. A world-class left winger again that offers Bournemouth such attacking young threat in their front three. And this for me is what Man United don't have. We don't have a young attacking front three. We have an inconsistent Marcus Rashford. We've got a 21-year-old striker who the pressure's on his world of his shoulders. And then we've got Garnacho, who continues to be placed in and out this team on completely rotating between the left and the right wing. And that ain't going to do him any good. That ain't going to deal his confidence any good. I think Ten Hag has got to change it up. And again, that puts Bournemouth at a massive advantage because they're going to look at Man United's situation. They're going to look at the players they've got available and they're going to look at their injuries. They all know Man United are there for the taking. They know Man United can see goals. You look at the amount of shots we have faced this season alone. You look at our Champions League campaign. You look at our Carabao Cup campaign. You look at our FA Cup campaign. And you look at our Premier League campaign. Man United are basically relying on West Ham winning the Europa League, Liverpool or Man City winning the Champions League, and Man United finishing 5th or 6th. And that doesn't look like it's going to happen because we are trying to rebuild our Premier League campaign. We're trying to win the FA Cup, and the pressure is basically on Ten Hag's shoulders to keep his job. But at the end of the day, it's the player's choice. And no offense to United, but if I was an informed player, I wouldn't want to transfer to United due to the state at the moment. Exactly. Bang on to the point. What world-class players are going to want to come to our club knowing the massive insecure state this football club is in, not just off the pitch, but on the pitch as well. It is a mess. Beyond top to bottom of this club, this football club is a bloody mess. And you know what? It is embarrassing. It's massively frustrating, massively annoying, but it ain't going to change. It ain't going to change anytime soon because of the lack of ownership, the lack of recruitment quality, and the lack of organisation behind the scenes. This is why Bournemouth have got all these young, hungry players who are finding the back of the net in every game they find. You look at the goals they're scoring, you look at their attacking threat. We've got to basically keep all these young, talented players quiet. Because if Bournemouth do the double, I would be sat here on Saturday evening saying, told you so. Because Bournemouth are a quality Premier League team. And not a people see the quality Bournemouth have. And they slag Bournemouth off so much. I said Bournemouth would be absolutely fine this season. I said Bournemouth will be a Premier League club. They ain't going to go down. They ain't going to get relegated. Bournemouth are going to be a stable mid-table club very, very soon. And with the football they're playing, and if they get European football, you've got to consider the Bournemouth manager, not for just manager of the season, but you've also got to start considering him as a top coach in Europe that top clubs are going to look at. Because I recognise what Bournemouth are trying to do. They're trying to show to these top clubs, we ain't afraid of you. We can compete. Look at our recruitment. Look at our new ownership. We're going in a completely different direction than what we were doing under Gary O'Neill. And also with the new owners Bournemouth have got, and they've invested money to get things on the pitch right. And that is what Bournemouth are trying to do. They are trying to become a mainstream Premier League club again because they did it under Eddie Howe and they were fantastic. But they had owners that were too afraid to invest money that Eddie Howe needed to keep Bournemouth in the Premier League. And that is why Bournemouth really struggled in the end to survive because he didn't get the players he wanted. He didn't get the recruitment that he needed off the pitch to bring new players in. And that is why Bournemouth unfortunately got relegated in the season they did. But Bournemouth has shown if you bring young, hungry players that are going to cause these bigger teams a threat now because their age, versatile, selfish centre-backs can't do their job properly, then these young, hungry Bournemouth players are going to target that opposition back four and they're going to go for them because they know the vulnerability is there. But you also look at all the other players Bournemouth has signed who have been absolutely quality. Marco Sensi at centre-back for Bournemouth. What a world-class centre-back. Any top 6 club in the Premier League would be loved to have him. And a massive shout also to Anton Semenyo and Alex Scott, 2 ex-Bristol City players who have been absolutely fantastic for Bristol City in the past. But look at the playing and the quality they are producing. These are top quality players that are going to go right to the top. And I would probably expect both of them to start on Saturday. Semenyo is scoring goals for fun. Alex Scott in midfield is like a young, hungry Kobe Mainu. And that is a type of players we don't have at this club because Ten Hag's too afraid to change the team up. He's using the injuries as an excuse to not change the team for Saturday. And he can keep doing it as much as he wants. But you've then got to start questioning, what is Ten Hag really trying to do? And you can say, oh, we've got injuries and this, that, and the other. But I agree what Gary Neville said. He can't believe that United are coming up with this excuse that we've got so many injuries. We've got so many injuries. You can't keep using that as an excuse. You have still got players available to you at your disposal. But unfortunately, the point I would go back to Gary Neville is what I would say is, are these players Man United have got as backups really good enough to be at Man United? And my answer is no. They ain't got the quality. They lack commitment. They lack desire. Some of these players should be playing for this fucking football club. And unfortunately, because there's still a massive lot of favouritism, expect a lot of that team that played against Liverpool to play again against Bournemouth on Saturday. If I was manager, I would be changing this team up and not being afraid to say, do you know what? I'm going to make a statement here. I'm going to change this team up. I'm going to change this set of players, and I'm going to start influencing my attacking quality that I want Manchester United to be under Eric Ten Hag. And I think Eric Ten Hag's being held back. I think Eric Ten Hag is being massively held back. I think decisions behind the scenes, he's being dictated to. There's been a lack of investment, a lack of recruitment, and a lack of any desire to get Man United anywhere near back to the top. And this is why Man United have struggled all fucking season long, because we are burnt out, we're worn out, but you can't use that as an excuse. At Man United, you win the Carabao Cup, you get Champions League football, you get top four. Can you not take that as motivation to go into season 2 under Eric Ten Hag to get even more of a better season? These players are too scared. These players don't want to show anymore. They get tired. They question the manager. They get fed up in training the regimes that these managers put their players through. That is because some of these players are too scared. They don't want to play at top level football. Some of these players aren't acceptable. And if I was Man United manager, I'd be looking at this AFC Bournemouth team knowing, do you know what? We should be taking puns on some of these for next season. If you put players like Anton Semenyo, Alex Scott, Marco Sensi, Marcus Tavernier, Justin Kluivert, Luis Anastera, Tyler Adams, Dominic Solanke, and also probably one of Bournemouth's standout players of the season has to be their left back in Milos Kerkez, that world-class young attacking left back that has been probably an absolute blessing in disguise for Bournemouth defensively. The quality he has brought in at Bournemouth's left back position, for me, this is what Man United are missing, because they've believed too much in Luke Shaw, and they've believed that Malacia's injury problems at Feyenoord would not be repeated at Man United. Where is Malacia? Where is Luke Shaw? Both injured. One suffering with mental health because of the injury problems he's got, and Luke Shaw has been injury prone ever since the days of Louis van Gaal. And Man United have continued to trust these players, and all of a sudden, it's now massively woken Man United up from their coma, because this is why our left backs don't produce the goods. This is why we don't put balls into the box. This is why we don't get defensively forward, because our left backs are not good enough. They aren't considerate. They don't look at their problems they've got. They don't look at their injuries they have, because their bodies are basically telling them we can't keep playing at this level, because the injuries are only going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And this is why, when you've got a quality left back like Milos Kerkez, who probably going forward is Bournemouth's best threat defensively, he can't just defend, he can score goals, he can put world-class balls into the box, he takes set pieces, he takes corners. This is what you get. He's a threat inside the penalty area of the opposition team. This Bournemouth team recognises the identity. This is a young, hungry team trying to build a solid foundation for Premier League football for the future. This is why clubs like Bournemouth do not get relegated, because they've got a young, hungry team that are not just fighting for the manager, they're fighting for the players, they're fighting for the fans, they're fighting for the supporters, and they're united as a squad. And at Man United, it's individual FC. It is solo FC. It is, I need to build my ego. I need to get more fans. I need to build my socials. I need to build my credentials. I need to be better. I need to show the world that I'm a world-class player. But you don't need world-class players to recognise what Bournemouth are doing. And they are going to be threats. I think the players I've mentioned so far will be a threat on Saturday. And I think they will cause Man United one hell of a problems. And if you then look at that Bournemouth midfield, you look at the recruitment of Philip Billing. Remember when the days of Huddersfield Town were in the Premier League? They were phenomenal. But everyone slagged them off before they even kicked a ball in the Premier League, saying Huddersfield aren't going to stay up. Huddersfield are going to struggle. Huddersfield are going to go straight back down. Huddersfield will not survive as a Premier League club. They're going to get relegated straight back to the Championship. What did Huddersfield Town do? They had a young, hungry squad full of young, hungry players, and they added some quality, experienced strikers, wingers, and midfielders, as well as their defence, and they got results and kept themselves in the Premier League, and they stayed up. They might have went down the season after, but it shows. One of their key players in that team was Philip Billing, and you look at the way he runs that midfield. You look at the way he's a box-to-box, world-class attacking centre midfielder that would do any job in the top 6 clubs in the Premier League currently. He is a phenomenal player that anyone should take a punt on. Because I look at the job he has done for Bournemouth. I look at the way he runs their midfield. There's leadership. There's a role there. There's a captain there. There's someone there who gives you confidence to get that Bournemouth midfield moving forward to create more attacking opportunities for those Bournemouth front three to cause the back four of the opposition team threats. Bournemouth know what they're doing. If you added Philip Billing into our midfield at the moment, the way our midfield's looking, especially where Man United are getting their little violin out, now using, we've lost Scott McTominay to injury now. We've lost him 2 to 3 weeks. Like, does anyone actually care? Because at the end of the day, I do not care McTominay's not in that team. I ain't missing him. He ain't good enough. And if you think McTominay's a good leader or role model for that midfield, then I would suggest getting Postman Pat to do people's eyes test. Because at the end of the day, if people think Scott McTominay's good, and people say, well, at least he's added goals, he scored against Liverpool in the FA Cup. Yeah, he went invisible against Brentford, miserable against Chelsea and did his knee. And then Liverpool didn't play because he's out for 2 to 3 weeks. And people saying we need that type of midfielder for the future. No, we don't. And last thing I heard was that Jim Ratcliffe was trying to get Ross Barkley. Another example of United being clearly lazy with their transfers. Yeah. But maybe they're looking at players like Ross Barkley and other players on that level because they know the midfielders at United aren't good enough. But I would agree. I don't think going to the level of bringing in players like Ross Barkley is acceptable. Because if we let Casemiro go, which I think is going to happen because after his abysmal performance last Sunday, and while it's been nice having Casemiro here, you've got to start looking at this now. That performance against Liverpool, a League Two player could have done better. A League Two player could have done better what Casemiro did. That midfield battle was lost because of Casemiro. That midfield battle was lost because he could not do it all. And that is not just the age, but it's the way the Premier League game is evolving forward into the future. Premier League players are targeting the older, unwise players now because these players cannot keep up to their level. These players' legs are aging. They can't run and run forever. And if he joins, I can see him slipping off again like he did at OCG Nice. Yeah, that might happen. But will United want to keep doing that? I don't think that's the right direction, getting players like Ross Barkley. But like I said about Philip Billing, he was Mr. Huddersfield in the second season because they then got relegated. And you look at the Bournemouth midfield now, he's quality. He's absolute quality. And if you added him to that United midfield and you put him in that midfield instead of players like Casemiro, I think that Man United midfield would be absolutely fine. The only reason why our midfield is doing all right is because when you've got young, hungry, 18-year-old players like Kobe Mainoo who are playing for the shirt, playing for the badge, and they know exactly their role, they know exactly their credentials, and they know the quality that they are bringing into that midfield. But the problem is that midfield doesn't move anywhere because when you've got Casemiro here and Eriksen and McTominay and Mount, Hannibal Mabry, Bruno Fernandes, I mean, the list of players goes on that midfield at Manchester United actually has. You look at their midfield and you look at the quality. Some of them have, but some of them clearly don't have. Kobe Mainoo is expected to do it on his own. And again, if Kobe Mainoo doesn't sign a new contract, I wouldn't blame him. If I was Kobe Mainoo and I'm looking at that from a bigger point of view, is Man United the club really I need to be staying at to get a bigger and more successful career? No, is the clear answer. If Man United lose players like Kobe Mainoo, United would be screwed. United would be fucked. And if we ever lose Kobe Mainoo, then a lot of protests would happen because you've lost a world-class player that actually gives a fuck about where the club's trying to head. And he looks at midfield and he thinks, bloody hell, Casemiro can't do it anymore. Eriksen ain't no good. McTominay ain't no good. Mount hasn't worked out. And I've basically The only player I've got around me to help me is Bruno Fernandes. And probably, to an extent, the only bit of good Bruno Fernandes did against Liverpool was his goal. But then again, could you really sing and song and dance about the goal if Liverpool didn't make those mistakes at the back through Konza and then Kelleher being massively off his line? No, you can't have a sing and song and dance about the goal he scored because Liverpool defensively gave him that goal. They basically gifted him a free goal. Here's a free shot. Absolutely giving it. Imagine if Maidenhead faced United in the FA Cup, it would be a close one. Yeah, because these clubs aren't afraid anymore. The fear factor's gone. The fear factor's been wiped out. These clubs aren't scared anymore. They know Man United are beatable. And any manager gets this job, Man United are vulnerable. Man United will never get back to the top because of the lack of recruitment and the lack of poor ownership that we have. And it's the structure that we don't have either. We don't have any of that on the pitch. So, yeah, as we said in the midfield, again, the midfield won't change much Saturday. Don't expect McTominay because he's out for 2 to 3 weeks because he's hyperplexed his knee. Well, he ain't going to be missed anyway. He ain't going to use Eriksen because Eriksen doesn't want to be here anymore, which I don't blame him. But again, the Premier League game's moving on. The Premier League game is evolving. So don't expect Eriksen. Mount, don't expect him to play unless a miracle happens with the front three. And then all of a sudden we put Mason Mount on the left or the right. And then again, play a complete imbalanced front three that doesn't clearly work when you're playing a midfielder on the left or the right wing. Again, which doesn't work. Ten Hag needs to realise that. So again, expect the midfield to be Bruno Fernandes, Mainu and Casemiro. That midfield ain't going to change on Saturday. Don't expect miracles. Don't expect things to be dramatically changed because clearly Ten Hag rates certain players over others and clearly has favourites like Solskjaer and had favourites like Ragnick. And that ain't going to get you far in football if you've got favouritism. That ain't going to get you anywhere. When you look at my career mode on EAFC 24, I ain't afraid to make big decisions. I'm not afraid to make big calls. And you look at this rebuild I'm doing. I'm getting rid of players that are going to cost Man United's future moving forward. I'm not afraid to do it. So if Ten Hag's got it, changed up. But then it ain't just the midfield that he's changing. It's that front three as well. We don't know if Rashford's going to be fit for the weekend. So people are going to say, again, that's a massive, massive blow for United at the weekend. I don't think so. What did he do against Liverpool to get anyone off their seat? What did Rashford do to convince anyone that he had a good performance? What is anyone going to think that Rashford's going to offer anything going forward on Saturday? Because all he does is hogs the ball, tries to take on 3 or 4 players on his own, tries to take on an extra player inside the Bournemouth penalty area, and then loses the ball. Bournemouth are on the counter-attack, and then probably end up scoring from that attacking phase happening. So if Rashford isn't fit and he doesn't play anyway, I don't think he's going to be a big miss. I don't rate him. I want him gone from this football club. I think United are better off without him. So in terms of that, Garnacho needs to be put back on the left because against Liverpool on Sunday, dreadful. On that right wing, people need to realise, and it needs to happen very quickly, not just slowly. Realism has to happen quickly. He isn't a right winger. He is a left winger who produces best on the left wing. And again, when you are playing him out of position with a right winger who ain't a right winger, even though he's right-footed, that ain't going to work. That will never work in football. And it's happened so many times that people think that, Garnacho's the answer on the right wing. I can categorically tell you now, he is not the answer on the right wing. Get Garnacho where he is best on the left wing. But it doesn't matter who our wingers are. Because if you play Rashford there or Garnacho on either of the flanks, what's going to happen? They're going to starve our main striker, who's been our striker for all fucking season because we didn't have a backup. Rasmus Højlund will be starter surfaced again. And again, that happened on Sunday against Liverpool. It happened against Chelsea. It happened against Brentford. Our wingers are providing a hell of a lack of service to our striker. And this is why Man United don't score goals. This is why we don't find the back of the net. And this is why the goals are being relied on through either the midfield or the defence. And am I surprised by that? No, I'm not. I'm not surprised. And these players clearly are ignoring Rasmus Højlund's threat. They're ignoring the runs he makes on and off the ball. He's basically the next Cavani in my view. And I think that is my opinion. I think, Højlund is the next Cavani. He made runs on and off the ball at certain times in the right place at the right time. He puts himself into an onside position and he guaranteed Man United goals. That is why we didn't have a backup for Rasmus. And I feel sorry for him. So he don't score on Saturday. Don't be too surprised. But again, are we going to look at, well, clearly the wingers are being selfish on and off the ball and providing, again, any form of lack of service or any consideration to get Højlund the ball into the penalty area where he's most deadly inside the box. So don't be surprised if that happens yet again on Saturday. So that's the front three. Maybe Ahmad comes into the right wing or maybe Anthony comes in because if Rashford's out, Garnacho goes back to the left. And I think maybe it's time for Ahmad to show what he can do against a Bournemouth team that, a few years ago were in the Championship. And maybe Ahmad will get that chance finally against a team that, do concede goals. They shouldn't have lost to Luton last weekend. Maybe it's time for Ahmad. Maybe it's time. Do you know what? Maybe this is the right type of game to show what Ahmad can do. But again, when you've got strong, versatile centre-backs and left-backs that AFC Bournemouth have got, they might absolutely pocket Ahmad. And maybe Anthony may be the choice because there's clear, again, favouritism to Anthony. So it's a toying cost, really. Do we go with Ahmad? Do we go with Anthony on the right wing if Rashford's not fit or injured? And we put Garnacho back on the left with Rasmus Højlund down the middle. Again, a coin toss between both players. So that's a very interesting debate what that team will be on Saturday. As for the back four, as for the goalkeeper, I think we know what it's going to be. I don't understand where people are getting this Diego Dalot hype from. I don't know where they're getting all this hype and optimism and encouragement for him. I don't see where people think Aaron Wan-Bissaka has been great defensively for Man United in certain weeks. I don't know what people are watching because I've never rated the guy. I don't think he'll ever be good defensively enough for Man United. And when, again, you're playing him out of position, he's going to be vulnerable. He will be massively, massively vulnerable to Man United defensively, and it will cost us even more goals. And Onana will concede a hell of a lot more. So we don't really have a left back. As for the centre backs, again, story of my life. One Direction. The One Direction defence will be Maguire and Kabwala. And again, people might know I ain't the biggest fan of Kabwala, and I don't really rate the guy, and I don't think really realistically this guy's going to be good enough defensively for Man United for the future. But he did really show his quality against Liverpool. And again, it took me by surprise. It shocked me how defensively good he was. But again, at the end of the day, maybe again, a team like Bournemouth, he might have a very, very strong, versatile performance because maybe his defensive mind and the way he stands to attention, the way he commands himself with his superior body strength that he's already got maybe that might benefit us on Saturday. Maybe that will stop the threat of Kluivert and Solanke. Maybe that will stop the threat of Semenyo. But it just concerns me that, we've got the same back four and it doesn't look like that's going to change for any weeks on end. That's my big concern. And then as well as Onana, who is conceding goals from left, right and centre and can't stop conceding goals. Again, it worries me long term that is this the goalkeeper? Is this the right option? For me, if we concede any more and we let teams batter us in both halves of the game and we concede shot after shot after shot and we can't keep the opposition team quiet, how are Man United meant to say, do you know what, we've made a brilliant signing of Onana? It's massively not worked, is it? I think De Gea's probably sat there fucking laughing his socks off because he's probably thinking, I probably wouldn't have conceded half the goals we've conceded this season. I probably would have kept a few more clean sheets. Man United might have won a few more games. We might have got a few more results in our hand, what we desperately need. And again, Man United are getting desperate now. We are getting severely, severely desperate to get this Premier League season turned around. And we've got to somehow restore any hope or any optimism that this fan base or any Man United supporters have got. Because as it stands, I don't think anyone's feeling confident. I don't think one Man United fan can sit there truthfully and honestly say, I'm confident Man United are going to turn this around. I'm confident Man United can beat these next few teams they've got. Well, if we can't beat teams like Bournemouth and Fulham at home and we can't beat teams like Brentford or hold on against Liverpool or hold on against Chelsea, I'm afraid to say if we do go a goal down, like I say, the floodgates again, I think will open. I thought that would happen on Sunday against Liverpool. Soon as they got the 1-0 lead, soon as they got in front, look what happened. The midfield got cut wide open with the amount of gaps that we left and the wide open space we gave the Liverpool attacking midfield free, as well as the front attacking free as well. And also, you do look at the Liverpool errors from Sunday. It did cost them. That's why they didn't win the game. But Man United were handed results and goals on the plate on Sunday. If I'm being really blatantly honest, we were massively, massively handed goals on the plate because of Liverpool's defensive calamities. So, again, it's going to be one of those games that I think, unfortunately, it ain't going to go United's way. I want to be able to say, do you know what? I'm confident, I'm optimistic that we are going to get a result. But at the moment, I just can't seem to get myself up to that, enthusiasm that I used to have. I can't get that love there anymore because I'm just so fed up. I hate having to talk about them. I hate having to slag them off every week when things go wrong. But United have got nowhere to hide. United can't sit and say, oh, do you know what? We've been great this season. We haven't. We've been shit. We've been massively exposed from our last few games. The manager is getting a lot of criticism, which I think is deserved. I think Ten Hag's going to go anyway. He ain't going to be there next season. I think we've all got to start realising that very, very quickly. And if it goes pear-shaped on Saturday and we do lose again, or we only get a point, then we are slipping down further and further that league table. We could probably finish in our worst league position ever since the days when Man United were relegated. And Dennis Law went and joined the blue half of Manchester City, scored the winning goal against Manchester United, and we got relegated. I don't think relegation is going to happen, by the way, but the more we slip down that league table and we go down to 8th, 9th, and then 10th, imagine no European football next season. Just put that up here. Imagine no European football and all we've got is FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the league. That looks shit. That looks a really bad season. And I think, again, results have got to be proved that Ten Hag keeps his job. I'm not happy the way things have been. I'm not happy with his tactics. I'm certainly not happy with the way we're playing because I just don't recognise anything. This isn't the Man United I grew up and loved all those years ago. This isn't the club I used to love supporting, and now that love's dying. It's because of everything what's going on. Like, Ten Hag is a dead man walking anyway. Let's be really frank here. Let's be really fucking honest. I think Ten Hag knows his time's up. I think he knows he's on an interim basis till the end of the season until he can prove the owners and Ineos wrong. Can he do it? I don't think he can. I think if we were to lose heavily Saturday, not just by 1 or 2, but by 3 or 4, and it's a bad, hefty defeat, then you have witnessed history in the Premier League, history in football, history ever, and you've watched Bournemouth do the double over Man United for the first time ever. Like, if anyone would ever tell me that Man United would get the double done over them by AFC Bournemouth, not just at Old Trafford, but away from home as well, I would not believe you. But I look at that Bournemouth young team they're building, and I recognise what they're trying to do as a club on and off the pitch. It makes me think, do you know what? If this goes tits up, then United are not going to have my supporters' ownership forever. Because I'm tired, I'm mentally and physically drained, I'm worn out by the lack of standards or the mentality at the football club on and off the pitch. I just want us to win. I want us to be successful. And we can't be told or be patient for 3 more fucking seasons. I'm sorry to say, no, you can't keep saying that as an excuse. The success has got to happen instantly. It happened instantly under Klopp at Liverpool. It happened instantly at Guardiola at Man City. Arteta at Arsenal. Postecoglou at Tottenham this season. Unai Emery at Aston Villa. And it's putting Man United on the back burner here. Man United aren't a top club anymore. If we don't finish in the top 6, top 7, we ain't a top 6, 7 club anymore. I hope we realise that now. I'm just hoping we see some kind of performance, because if we don't win, it's going to be another shit weekend that, again, United have fucked everyone off. I don't want that to happen. But at the moment, the way we are playing, it wouldn't surprise me. And all I can say is we're living on a prayer, basically, by Bon Jovi. We're living on prayers at the moment to make Man United turn things around. Can it happen this weekend? Can we finally turn over a new leaf? Can we prevent Bournemouth from doing this double in football and Premier League history? Can we see Man United somehow get a win after only 3 games without a win? 2 points from 9 as well from the last 3. No win since the Liverpool FA Cup quarter-final at Old Trafford when we won 4-3. There's more questions than answers here, and United have got to find some results from somewhere because otherwise it's just getting boring. And I'll be sick of doing this. Like, honestly, it's making me feel sick. You would want to throw up knowing what is going on here. It makes you want to throw up. It makes you want to be sick because it's just the standards on off the pitch are a joke. And again, if this continues to happen and happen even more, then United are just going to fall further and further behind everyone. Not just the top 6, but even the mid-table clubs are going to start finishing above us. But let's hope United can get a result. I'm going to go for 2 or 3-0 United, but that's me being more optimistic than hopeful. So let's see what happens. So I hope you enjoyed this live chat, this live debate, this live talk about the game between Afc Bournemouth and Man United on match day 33 now for the 23-24 Premier League season. We've only got 5 games left till the end of this season. Remember to hit the like button and the share button. Please subscribe to the channel and the community if you're new. Share the video, hit the tweet button and the retweet button. Remember to always remember as well, that notification bell, put that bell on at all times as well to receive dedicated brand new content planned for the rest of this year in 2024. We've got more Rocket League, Fortnite, EAFC, Call of Duty, previews, match reactions. We'll be going live right throughout the summer transfer this year in 2024 of any breaking news and actual news coming out of any top European clubs, especially United as well, depending if they don't bring Southgate in as manager, which could happen. And then join me for this aftermath on Saturday. United need a result and we need to win from somewhere. But I just think Bournemouth's young attacking team is going to have too much. But let's see what happens on Saturday. United might surprise me. Enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy the rest of your evening, whatever you're all doing. Stay safe, be nice, be kind to each other. And I'll see you on the next one.